Son of a
glitch.
Sonic the Hedgehog, the game that started it all, and while it's not as glitchy as certain later entries into the series, it's still got its fair share of fun glitches. First off, let's take a look at zipping. A zip is the result of Sonic being stuck inside a wall, which isn't a normal gameplay element. Once inside a wall, the collision detection pushes Sonic in the opposite direction to the one you press, so holding left on the D-pad pushes Sonic right, and vice versa. Since collision detection is designed to prevent you entering walls in the first place, pushing left against a wall makes the game push you back to the right to stop Sonic being embedded in the wall. And in doing so, Sonic travels much faster than he can in normal gameplay. Knowing this, there are a few parts of the game where we can exploit this zip technique. For instance, in Marble Zone Act 2, at the very beginning we can get inside this wall by getting Sonic to the very edge of this rising platform and balancing on a specific pixel like this. When the platform reaches the correct height, press right and then jump on the very next frame and Sonic will zip off the screen and arrive at the end of the stage. From then on, it takes a few seconds for the game's camera to catch up. This is known as a horizontal underflow glitch or a level wrap. Imagine the stage as pixels, with pixel 1 at the very beginning of the stage and then pixels 2, 3, 4 and so forth. When Sonic moves at this speed, he goes beyond that initial pixel and into pixel -1, and since that doesn't exist, the game places Sonic at the end of the stage. This makes it possible to complete the act in a ridiculous amount of time. Here's the trick in slow motion to get an idea of the frame-perfect timing that makes this glitch work. If you touch the signpost before it properly loads, its sprite gets glitched out along with this random wall to the right of the screen. A similar zip can be achieved in Act 3 of Marble Zone. If you balance on the edge of this rising platform, you can get inside the wall. You need to wait until the rising platform on your right is nearest the floor, and then tap left on the D-pad. You'll see Sonic is now back against that platform facing left. Here we need to wait for this left rising platform to reach its highest point, and then tap right, and on the very next frame tap jump. And once again, Sonic will be zipped, this time all the way to Robotnik where the screen locks. Springyard Zone Act 3 has these moving blocks that you can push yourself into the wall if you hold down, and then when you can no longer see Sonic on screen, tap left to enter the wall. Once inside the wall, head right and you'll need to jump, and then only as Sonic is falling, press right to enter this wall. Jump again and then hold left and keep holding left and jumping until you reach this area under the half pipe. Here, press the start button and left at the same time to pause buffer one frame and move Sonic one tile to our right and then unpause. Then repeat this by pressing the start button and right at the same time to buffer us one frame left. Now we need to jump on the very next frame, so unpause and jump a split second after and Sonic will fall down again, and then simply hold left and this lands Sonic quite a way into the act. In Labyrinth Zone Act 2, pressing this button and standing on the moving platform like this puts Sonic inside the wall, and then simply holding left pushes Sonic to the end of the act. Starlight Zone has some pretty tricky versions of these zips. In Act 1, this platform drops downwards, and if you balance on the correct pixel all the way to the left like this, and then tap right on the correct frame, Sonic once again zips left, hits the start of the act, and then arrives at the end of it. The best way to get the timing on this one is when Sonic's feet meet this dark green line here as the platform moves down like this. Starlight Zone Act 2 has an even crazier trick. At the beginning of the act, we need to jump inside this ramp like so, and then once inside, we can use pause buffering to get in position. Press the start button and left at the same time to move one frame to the right, and repeat this till you arrive exactly here. Now we need to tap right and jump a split second after to get the level wrap. Here it is in slow motion again, the zip right and jump and to the end of the stage in 16 seconds. The same trick can be used in Act 3 with this ramp. The inputs are the same as Act 2, the only thing that changes are the sprite tiles below, and the timing is also the same as Act 2. And this zip drops you at the boss just like it did in Marble Zone Act 3. In Scrap Brain Zone Act 1, these moving platforms can push you inside the wall, and then tapping left and jumping slightly after will put you some way into the stage. The jump after tapping left clears this shield box on the other side of the wall. If you don't jump, you'll get stopped in your tracks by the shield box, and then you're stuck here, and you'll have to reset the game. In Act 2, there are these platforms that can push you inside the wall if you time it right. Once you're inside the wall, go to the right, drop, and then hold left to fall back into the stage, which is a really cool shortcut. Act 3 has an even better shortcut which cuts out the whole stage. When you reach this part after the platform has moved into position, push against these walls and then run back towards the ramp and you'll see Sonic moves into the ramp and begins pushing. Now turn left to push against the ramp and Sonic will move downwards, allowing us to get inside this wall. Head right, jump, and then hold left and Sonic will be on the other side of the wall. Jump on the spring and stage done. So that's zipping and level wrapping in Sonic the Hedgehog, but what about the other glitches in the game? Here's one you may have encountered in regular gameplay. If Sonic touches spikes, loses rings and bounces into spikes again, he dies. This is because of a lack of invincibility frames which should be present but aren't, resulting in some cheap deaths. It even happens if you have a shield. Now it's debatable if this was intended or not, but seeing as it was fixed in ports of the game, it's assumed it was in fact a glitch. There are some solid objects and walls that cause Sonic to jump without his usual jumping animation, resulting in this walking in the air style glitch to happen. In most cases it's not an issue, but every now and again it's like, what? I want that ring box, I need it! In Green Hill Zone Act 1, if you hit these S tunnels with a lot of speed, when you exit them the camera hasn't gotten into position and you hit the kill plane at the bottom of the screen. And you die. A similar thing happens in Marble Zone Act 1 when you push this block. You jump without rolling as mentioned earlier, you get hit and fall to the ground here, and the camera gets completely confused and you lose a life. In Starlight Zone Act 1, the same kind of thing happens if you go above the screen by getting hit by this Orbinaut. In Marble Zone you can duck on this platform that goes across the lava and Sonic will go through this solid wall which usually pushes you off. In Labyrinth Zone Act 2, if you pass the point of screen lock, which happens before reaching the signpost at the end of an act, go back towards the left of the screen and the signpost will unload, which means you'll end up just being stuck at the end of the stage. But this area has another weird glitch. When you end the stage normally and then duck to pan the camera down, the game will crash with an illegal instruction exception, and the only thing left to do then is reset the console. At the end of an act, if you jump at the same time the results screen appears, you can maintain control of Sonic whilst the results add up. When you open the capsule containing animals in every third act like this, Sonic kinda gets a bit stuck and does this pushing thing. I don't know why I like this, but I do. In Labyrinth Zone Act 3, you have these tunnels that carry Sonic along the current as he grabs these poles. If you have one life remaining, drown whilst holding onto the pole and Sonic will let go and fly into the spikes, effectively losing another life. But check out our lives counter at the bottom of the screen. It's glitched out, but this counter represents 255 lives. Anytime you pick up an extra life, when the fanfare ends and the stage music fades back in, pause the game and then unpause. Now the percussion track to the music isn't playing. One of the most fun things about the original Sonic the Hedgehog is the access to Debug mode, where you can place object sprites around already existing stages. To access this, for anybody who doesn't know, at the title screen press up C, down C, left C, right C, and then press A and start, and hold them until you see Sonic in the stage. Okay, now we have debug mode, let's see what stuff we can do. In Green Hill Zone Act 2, go down here at the start of the stage and just drop Sonic on these spikes, and because Sonic cannot die from spikes in debug mode, he'll bounce on this spot infinitely. Pretty much anytime Sonic interacts with spikes while in debug mode, it's fun to watch. In Labyrinth Zone, if you place poles here above the moving platforms and then move from left to right to build up speed, Sonic should grab the pole but be moved by the platforms too, and he'll just be carried off holding on to nothing. There's an area in Labyrinth Zone Act 3 that can literally kill you if you enter it. This would be on the way to fight Robotnik, but seeing as this part of the stage scrolls infinitely upwards during the boss and we've entered it without loading it correctly, the game must think we've fallen out of bounds. But instead of the stage restarting, we get stuck here. Forever. In Green Hill Zone Act 3, collect 50 rings, then cycle through the different sprites until you arrive at the giant ring. Head into the boss fight and then change to the giant ring, which you'll now see has become glitched out, but then when we add the ring to the stage, whoops, looks like I messed Robotnik up pretty bad this time. You might want to get that looked at. And then I accidentally went inside the giant ring I placed and got stuck. Giant rings only work when another stage loads, so I guess I'm screwed. And finally, here's another way to get yourself stuck. In the final zone, hit Robotnik 7 times in the boss fight as normal, but on the 8th hit, make sure you hit Robotnik twice, and you'll know if you did because you'll hear it. When this happens, it interrupts the cycle for the end of the boss, then sets the hit counter to 255 and begins the boss fight all over again. Because the timer will run out long before you hit Robotnik 255 times, you're stuck here, unless you die, or wait 10 minutes, whatever comes first. Anyway, that's it for Sonic the Hedgehog, and there are some cool glitches you guys can go and try out. And if you like this episode, hit that like button, share it with everyone you know and love, but most importantly, please subscribe if you want to see more from the series. Head over to the Facebook page for the show. I post updates and sneak peeks to upcoming episodes and keep you guys in the know about all things Son of a Glitch. Or you guys can follow me on Twitter and keep updated that way. Also, I stream on Twitch whilst making episodes, so you guys should check me out there too. You know, if you want to.